G'day Cephalon Collective and welcome to a very special episode of Week in Warframe. I'm Cephalon Greg. This week, not only are we covering the Week in Warframe news for the week ending July 7th, 2019, but we're also going to take a quick look at the big things shown off at TennoCon. Of course, if you want a more in-depth look, grab episode 41 of Cephalon Squared from your podcast platform and give that a listen. On top of that, I've added links to all of the videos referenced from TennoCon and I really recommend you check them out. On to the news! Up first, there was a TennoCon sneak peek before Spider-Man Far From Home at select cinemas in the US. This showed off a very quick snippet of a new trailer that was shown off in more detail during TennoCon, so I'll leave it at that for now. Next up, DE shared that they worked with a company called Vulpin Props, who built a life-size mower for TennoCon. It looks absolutely amazing, so I recommend you check it out. There's a link to the making of video in the description. Discord Nitro users can now grab themselves a free Saren bundle, which contains Saren Deluxe Orphid Skin, Melia Sugatra, Embolist Armor Bundle, Samia Sayandana, but no Saren. The Orphid Skin is one of her best, so if you are a Discord Nitro user, there's no reason to miss this. And lastly, for the news at least, TennoCon merch is headed to the Warframe store for the first time ever, including this very cool Clem bobblehead. Definitely go check it out. There's some very, very cool stuff there. Okay, and now we'll move into the TennoCon announcements. Note that Tenno Live went for over 1.5 hours, so this will be a very quick roundup. First up, the team invited director Dan Trachtenberg of 10 Cloverfield Lane fame up on stage to introduce the forthcoming new introduction to the game. Part of this was shown off in movie theaters as discussed in the news, but here they showed off the full 6-minute video. It really is very impressive with lots of nods to the lore, so I recommend you check it out if you love Warframe. For the next major announcement, the team mentioned that Wukong Prime Access was now live on all platforms. We kind of knew this was coming, but still, it's great to have an official announcement. Next up, the team welcomed Cheryl Mebane up on stage. You may recall her from our special podcast episode number 2. She's Nora Knight. Yes, Cheryl came up on stage to announce that Nightwave Series 2 was also now live on all platforms. Get on out there, Tenno, shoot some infested, and find out who this emissary is. Following this announcement, DE then showed off a relatively short but very cool trailer for the new war, which demonstrates that this is definitely going to be a major war throughout the system and will include some very cool new enemies, including Natar's brother who will lead the charge. The team then announced that this is a major expansion for the game and is now expected around Christmas time this year. Next up was the very meat of this presentation, the Railjack demo. Of course, the expansion will be called Empyrean when it is finally released, but Railjack is just easier to say. This demo went for almost 45 minutes, so it's not easy to distill into just a few sentences, but here goes. Initially, the team showed off the Railjack in the dry dock, demonstrating its immense size and also showing off the multiple ways in which players can customize their Railjack. It was really quite impressive. From there, the team went aboard to meet with the new ship Cephalon, a bunch of new NPC crew which the player can hire and fire, as well as check out some of the stations on board. On taking off for a mission, we then saw that the individual players could each fulfill their own part aboard the ship, including the ability to board other ships or derelicts, and even commandeer enemy vessels. In addition, the forthcoming Kingpin system was demonstrated. Here, new bosses referred to as Kuva Liches were introduced. These bosses were effectively immortal as a result of being spiked with Kuva, but could steal abilities from the player that kills them and then hunt them over the course of the game, basically becoming their nemesis. We think this will be an awesome addition. Lastly, and I really should stress that I'm skipping over a hell of a lot of awesomeness here, there was something called Squad Link, which basically allows a squad to call upon other squads in the system to help them out. In this case, a team down on the planet took down a shield generator while the Railjack team fought a battle in space. This is a great idea, and I can't wait to see how it works in practice. The next thing that was shown off was completely unexpected. It was titled The Deviri Paradox and is pretty much the next open world that's coming to the game, likely in 2020. It didn't make a lot of sense just yet, but it did have space dragons, sci-fi demon horses, and adult operators? Yes, this is a strange one, and probably the thing I'm looking forward to most, even after all the other amazing stuff we saw. All of the trailers for all of this stuff is linked in the description below, and I very much recommend you watch them. Cephalon Lucas and I also had a very hearty chat about this in episode 41, so I recommend you give that a listen too. All in all, it was an amazing TennoCon this year, and so much to look forward to, but not so much that seems to be releasing soon. Hopefully Empyrean isn't too far away, but there was no hint of a release date. Before we head off, we do need to thank our patrons. Every bit of support, no matter how large or small, is really greatly appreciated and goes towards making everything we do even better. And that brings us to the end of yet another week in Warframe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next week.